Today's video is about experiencing more flow by optimizing your biology. The flow foundations have three pillars: motivation, cognitive load, and biology. And when you have these three pieces in place, you'll experience more flow, more frequent, easier to access, and deeper flow states. Today's video is going to focus on the biology piece. The plan for this video is to understand why the biology piece is important. Then we'll talk about the importance of sleep, and then the importance of water. So first, why is the biology important? Flow is a state of consciousness, and it shows up in the brain. The brain is an organ within the complex system of the human body, and both of these work together in order to accomplish things. And if you want to be efficient, you want your brain to be efficient. In order to accomplish things, both have requirements. And these requirements are sleep, water, food, social life, and physical activity. Those are the basic building blocks of what makes a human function better. But what do we need to focus on for flow? Sleep and hydration are the two most important pieces. For the sake of building this simple flow model, think that they're 5 times more important than the other 3. And we'll get to why that is in the following slides. And why we do not need to focus on the rest. Number 1, because if we focus on everything, then we focus on nothing. Of course, having all of the pieces perfect is better, but if you're going to focus on a few things, those should be sleep and water. The other reason that we don't need to focus as much on the other 3 is we don't usually mess them up as much, and they don't matter as much in terms of flow for the brain. Of course, the better everything is, the better for flow, but prioritize getting your sleep and your hydration right first. So we've covered why the biology piece is important, and we'll move on to the importance of sleep. Have you ever felt so tired it started feeling like you're a little bit tipsy or drunk? And could you do good quality, deep, and important work when you're in that state of slightly tipsy or even drunk from tiredness? Not really. It turns out that lack of sleep affects your brain's working memory, mental flexibility, attention span, decision-making, problem-solving skills, processing speed, and planning capabilities. If a human is awake for 16 hours, it needs a reset. After about 19 or 20 hours of wakefulness, it's the cognitive equivalent of a 0.08 blood alcohol content, which is legally drunk from a driving standpoint in the UK, the US, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. So you don't want to be performing your deep and important work when you're in a state of legally drunk driving from a cognitive perspective. Lack of sleep, and especially chronic lack of sleep, meaning everyday buildup of lack of sleep, is one of the main blockers of getting into flow. So why do we need sleep to be the cure for that? Why does it matter for flow states? There's a few reasons. Number 1, the brain accumulates toxins or waste throughout the day, just from operating, just from functioning. And this toxic waste, when accumulated over years, has been pointed as one of the causes to Alzheimer's disease. And sleep is the only way to eliminate those toxins from the brain. Other costs of sleep deprivation. It weakens your immune system, slows down your reaction time, lowers your libido, increases your appetite, ages your skin, worsens your mood. And although those might be tiny things, they are small inefficiencies and they will compound over time. So imagine you're in your 20s, your 30s, or your 40s, and you are having a lack of sleep every day for the next 20 or 30 years. Imagine how big of an impact combined that would be on your performance and productivity. Not ideal. So best to fix your sleep as soon as possible if it's something that deserves attention. So a quick exercise, pause the video now. Not much needed here. With just a quick 8 multiple choice question, basic evaluation of your sleep. The link is in the description below. You'll find at the end a score going from 0, the worst, to 32, the best. A kind of indication of how you're doing on sleep. And at the end of that quiz, you'll get practical tips and further information if desired. One of the other things, if you're not tracking your sleep, or if you don't measure it using a device, you should consider to start tracking it. And if you don't yet, there is a no-cost solution by just experientially and subjectively measuring it by writing the time you go to bed, time you wake up, and how you feel on a scale of 1 to 10. That way, you can see what kind of things are affecting your sleep, what kind of life situations you're sleeping better or worse in, and make corrections along the way. So we've talked about the importance of sleep and kind of how to gauge where you're at. I'm going to move on to the importance of water. Why do we need water? Well, we all know from our childhood years, biology class, most of the body is made of water, and similarly, so is the brain. But how does it relate to flow? It's the brain piece. Number one, the neurochemistry of the brain. Water is the main component of what delivers nutrition and the molecules that are needed in the brain in order to perform, in order to release the neurochemistry that makes your brain function. The other thing is water makes the neurons, the brain cells, able to communicate better between each other, meaning the more water there is in the brain, the better the electrical signals are able to communicate. Number two, the washing out of toxins during sleep that I mentioned a few slides ago. What happens during sleep is basically in deep sleep, your neurons shrink and the space between the neurons expand. And in that space, cerebrospinal fluid comes in and it clears out the waste that was building up next to the neurons. So water is a key in ensuring that what happens during sleep happens efficiently and clears out enough toxins that you avoid having these inefficiencies and lower performance. But what does good enough hydration look like? So the simplest way to keep your hydration levels in check is to monitor your pee. It's not a perfect model, but it's good enough for this point. And it's better to keep and track an average over a day or a week to see how you're doing. There's a color scale for pee, and it's more or less in this range. Hyper transparent to dark yellow. It can push into brown, but that's extreme cases of either severe dehydration, and it's not very common. 99% of the time, it'll be in this range. So what you want to be in is this range here on average. If your average is in the green box, then you're doing pretty well. So that covers pretty much biology, sleep, and hydration. Just as a quick summary, we covered why the biology was important, because the body and brain require inputs in order to perform optimally, i.e. outputs. The importance of sleep in terms of clearing out toxins and ensuring your best brain performance for whatever you do. And finally, the importance of water, which makes the neurochemistry happen and also facilitates the clearing of the toxins. That's it for now. Thank you so much for your time, energy, and attention. If you found this video awesome, interesting, enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like or subscribe button, and you can connect with me or get in touch via the links there. They'll also be in the description below. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. All the best.